everyone, and welcome back to Lauren's Take. Okay, so my voice is fully back this time. I think I'm finally over whatever it was I had. But we are going to go right into this video talking about episode 7. We find out the truth, sort of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I'm really excited to be talking about this episode. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already, and let's get into it. Alright, quick synopsis of this episode. This is the episode in which the kids finally go to the underworld. I don't know why I say kids. Our demigods finally go to the underworld. The episode started off with Percy and Annabeth with her invisibility cap. We didn't realize she was there until after the fact, going to Krusty's waterbed store. I know that's not the actual name, but anyway, they go in there, talk to Krusty and everything, and then in order to find what the actual entrance to the underworld is, and in the course of the show, it's through his store. So yeah, so that's how they get in there and go through and continue on with their journey into the underworld. They go to the underworld. This is also when Grover almost falls into Tartarus because of the shoes, because somebody, I don't know, well, technically there are like 2 people involved, but one person gave them the shoes, right? I guess under the order of the other person. But anyway, he almost gets taken to Tartarus because, of course, we'll find out later, but this is the situation in which Percy was supposed to be brought down to Tartarus using the flying shoes, but thankfully Percy, using Riptide, saved them in the nick of time, and they were okay, thank God. And then they go to talk to Hades, you know, confront him. I will say this is a difference in the show that's not in the novel. In the show, they already figured out that, you know, they already had the lightning bolt. And so he goes to Hades, or Percy and Grover go to Hades because Annabeth gets stuck in the fields of Asphodel because she has a regret. And she thankfully gets to go back to the land of the living. But we'll talk about that. But anyway, so Percy and Grover get to Hades' palace, talk to him, thinking that he and Ares were in cahoots. And he was like, I have not been in cahoots with Ares. I hate my family. Like, what? Why would I care? Like, no. And then they figure out that he actually is missing his helm. So they're like, who took the helm? And so then they're like, crap, hey, Ares took the helm. But who took the, lightning bolt? So then they're like, did Ares do it all? And so now they're in that weird place. But then Percy figures out that, oh no, this is Kronos. Kronos is the one talking to me and whatnot. And so then Hades tries to make a deal with Percy saying, well, since Kronos is going to come around, why don't you just give me the bolt so then I can take care of things and, protect myself and whatnot. And I'll keep you safe, your mom safe, and Grover too. And he was like, no, we're not going to do that. I'll get you her helm, but we're not, that's not going to work. But anyway, they go back to the land of the living. Cute Percabeth moment there where she helps him out. Then we look towards Ares coming towards them with a sword ready to go. And then the episode ends with Percy holding up Riptide ready to fight. So the next episode will probably center on that, and I'm excited about it. But let's get into my thoughts on the episode. Alright, so the thing about this episode, it wasn't my favorite. I was really upset about this episode, actually. I think there were a lot of changes, and a lot of the changes, took out a lot from the novel. Like, that whole scene in Krusty's, that was a whole thing, where they kind of figure it out as they go through it. I wonder if it was another situation in which they were kind of connecting it to, the same thing they did with Medusa, because it was, Percy already went in knowing that it was pro Krusty's. I don't know if Annabeth figured it out and then he told, I don't know. But, it was only a conversation between Percy and Krusty. Grover wasn't in the store. Annabeth was there. We didn't find out that she was there until later because, of course, she had the invisibility cap on. So that was another thing that I was very confused and lost. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. But they, they put him in the bed and whatnot. So he gets caught and, trapped in there. And then go through the underworld that way. But I don't know. I wasn't feeling that scene. I thought it could have been a little better. I just wish everyone was involved. It's a fun scene in the novel. But yeah, I don't know if they just wanted to focus more on the underworld, so that's why they decided to make that edit. I don't know. I wasn't the happiest with that change. That was one of the first times in a while in the show that I was kind of like, I don't really agree with that one. We also had a lot of flashbacks in this episode between, or it was really one flashback, but they just kept going back to this specific moment in time in which Percy was, again, in between schools. He was a little kid again. The young actor who plays him, I think his name is Azriel. He's so adorable, and he's such a perfect little Percy. Oh my gosh. Love him. But anyway, so this is another Sally Percy situation, and in this is, it's kind of like Percy's just really tired of having to go to this school and that school. He just wants to be with his mom, you know. And I love that. And then Sally's like, no, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to school. And then she was like, I need you to do this again. I don't know how I feel about how she's doing Sally. Like, she was so mean to him. And I was like, why are you being mean to him? Like, he's so tired of it. And, like, she was just, like, really stern with him. And again, I don't think that's my image of Sally. So it's really hard to kind of reckon with Virginia's kind of adaptation of her, or her portrayal of her. Because it's just, I just can't imagine Sally getting irritated or frustrated. I don't know if she's trying to put on a front. I don't know. I think, and this is why I'm confused, because I'm going to skip ahead real quick to the Sally and Poseidon conversation. So we also get a flashback to their conversation. We knew we were going to get a flashback with those two. I was thinking it was going to be their whole love story, but it was this particular thing. I don't know if this is going to be the only flashback we get with them, but I know this is at least a flashback with Sally and Poseidon. And so I love this scene. The scene was really great, and it helped me kind of get over it a little bit, because we finally really saw her emotional, in the sense of just like kind of breaking down, not knowing what to do, and not wanting to have Percy taken from her. So I think I was more appreciative of that, because for a while I was just like, why are you doing this? Like, I think she was really trying to put on a hard, like, put up a really strong front of, like, you know, you need to do this, Percy, you know, just try to push him to do that. And then I think the line that messed me up right before the Sally Poseidon scene is, he was like, I don't know why you're doing this to me. I don't know why you're trying so hard to get rid of me. And then she was like, and then he was like, I would never do that to you. And it just, oh my gosh. Ugh. My heart did go, like, my heart went to Sally in that moment. Cause I was like, oh gosh, this is just, ugh. And then I think her finally kind of breaking down those walls. I kind of like that. I like seeing the, you know, like, it's important, I guess, to show both. It's just, every time Percy describes her, I just think of her as just like, this just really sweet lady who's just not going to hurt a fly or whatnot. That's just my, like, depiction of her. But I think after seeing that play out, I think I can get with her portrayal a little bit more of Sally. Y'all let me know in the comments how you feel. Because a lot of people really like her, like how she's more like, no, this is what it's going to be. But others are kind of like, where I'm coming from, like, I didn't really expect that from Sally. But just let me know in the comments. But anyway, Sally and Poseidon's conversation, I thought was just so beautiful. It was just such a, like, it was so necessary though, because I was just like, oh my gosh, just crying, because you could see that Poseidon just loves her so much and loves Percy, and he's just like, I wish I could do more for him, but I can't. And you know, it's a sucky situation, but you know, her just like not wanting to send him to Camp Half-Blood, but feeling like that's the only place that she can really send him where he can be safe. And you know, Poseidon is like, you rather have him with you. And then she was like, yeah, but if just a sweet, positive, you know, creature like the Pegasus came and followed him, you know, I'm scared more scary things, or, you know, more dangerous things are going to come for him. And so I think that scene was really pivotal, and it was really important, because again, just kind of seeing that dynamic between Sally and Poseidon, but also why Sally, you know, was pushing so hard for Percy to go to these places. She wanted him to be safe. And you know, it just sucks. And the fact that people are just so mean to him. Oh my gosh, I was about to fight the counselor for what they were talking about with Percy. Like, oh my gosh, like, ugh. I will say, this show is really pulling at your heartstrings. Like, I love the book so much, but I think this is something that, like, when you are kind of able to show multiple perspectives and really kind of seeing what's going on behind the scenes that Percy himself may not know, may not see, I think it's really beneficial, because we get to see these just really poignant and emotional scenes that really kind of raise the stakes and raise the significance of everything that ends up happening. So I really enjoyed the whole flashback sequence and whatnot. It made me respect Virginia a little bit more, especially after the Sally Poseidon conversation. And so hopefully we keep on a upward trend. But yeah, I think my biggest thing that I didn't appreciate in this episode and why it's not going to end up getting 10 stars today, I did not like how they had our girl Annabeth literally get stuck with the regret in the fields of asphodel, and then she had to stay behind. And like, I loved how Percy, or Walker's Percy, like, he was losing it. He was like, Annabeth, because at first they couldn't find her. And then they found her, and then he was like, no, I'm not leaving. And he was automatically trying to get her out. I was like, oh my gosh, this boy! I love his loyalty. I love it so much. Walker is doing such a phenomenal job of showing how Percy is so just like, no, once you are in my life and you are like an important person in my life, you're not leaving. I'm not letting you leave. Like, no, we are not doing that. He's so strong in that, and he's doing such a phenomenal job demonstrating that. Loved it. And then Annabeth is like, Percy, you have to go. It's okay. I will be okay. I have this pearl. I'm gonna be fine. It's totally okay. Breathe. And I think she was like calming him down. And I love how we're seeing this too, because it is that situation of like, Annabeth is like one of the only people that Percy will listen to in the future, right? Like, especially on quests and whatnot. Like, yes, like if Annabeth says, he's like, okay, you know. Not even in that way. It's more because he trusts her so much and respects her so much because she is that girl, you know. I will keep saying what Dior said about Leah as Annabeth and as Leah Beth, you know, just her being Leah Beth in general. I think because it's just so perfect. It's such a perfect dynamic and such a perfect, like, description of who she is and how Leah is portraying Annabeth. She's just that girl. Anyway, continuing on. So I was not happy with that, and I didn't like how it was just Percy and Grover that whole time. It didn't sit right in my spirit. I wasn't with it. Y'all let me know in the comments down below what you thought. The pearl situation. So we had the 4 pearls. They were given 4 pearls, and someone actually talked about this on Instagram. Let me see it if I can find it real quick. Okay, so this person on Tumblr named Celeste. Oh, you can't see it. Anyway, I'll put the name down here. I just wanted to kind of mention what they said because I saw it on Instagram and I thought it was like so perfect. It was a Tumblr post. But one of the things is like, in the books, this is, quote, in the books, they're getting tricked and distracted and losing all of that time on their quest was an accident, but they still made it in the end. But in the show, they did everything right. They were aware of where they were at all times, but then they go and ask for help. They try to ask for Athena's help, and she lets monsters into her temple because they embarrassed her. They try to ask for Hermes' help, but he doesn't tell them until it's too late that the Lotus Hotel messes with time. They basically did everything right on their quest, only for their biggest failures to occur because of the gods. But Poseidon gives them 4 pearls instead of 3, 1 for Sally too, but we already know that she gets left behind. They try so hard only for the deadline to lapse. This person is so right. Like, it is just, I think that's the thing about the show. And I was talking about this a little bit earlier. It is so much more emotional and heart-wrenching, especially because they are doing everything freaking right. They're doing everything right. They're not getting tricked as easily. They're not going through just doing random stuff. Like, they are purposefully trying to do their best on this quest, trying to get where they're trying to go. And then we had Athena being stupid because she was mad that Percy was just annoyed with them and was like done or wanted to prove himself to them. And then they were just like, no, absolutely not. This is absolutely disrespectful. Or Athena was more so like, absolutely disrespectful. I'm just going to make your lives even harder. You do that to your own child? Like, it's the fact that her own child is a part of this quest and she did that. And then Hermes, ugh. Like, it's just, I love how the show demonstrates how problematic the gods are. I have been so obsessed with this because it's so true. And, especially, like, when we think about Percy's, like, kind of, love-hate relationship with Poseidon, especially what we kept seeing in Chalice of the Gods, which I really love seeing, I think it's so great to be able to see it in the show, because this is something that we're going to have to keep going back and forth with. And this is also something that was brought up in episode 5 when we were talking about Hephaestus' story, and how, the gods are just, they're just, they're so problematic. And I think Trials of Apollo, if you have not read Trials of Apollo yet, I also recommend this because, you know, we get to see it through Apollo's lens or perspective. And I think to see how he was so selfish and really showing how the gods are, but then really having to go through some stuff in order to realize, oh my gosh, these demigods go through this on a regular basis and we put them through this crap. What is wrong with us? I think it was so important for him to go through that and then for us to really see how bad the gods are. They really are horrendous. And so, you know, I do love the show doing that. I think because we've been through so much trauma with these kids and the fact that the deadline was already passed and then Annabeth on top of that couldn't come with them to that final, that final conclusion. I think that's what was kind of upsetting. I was just like, y'all, like, geez, we've already been through it all. We've been through the ringer. But anyway, I think also, the whole scene with Cerberus was really great. I really loved, Annabeth being able to, distract him for a long time. And then, someone else on, Twitter or Instagram was talking about the parallels between, Annabeth holding on to the cliff, almost falling, and then Percy and Grover pulling her up to Mark of Athena. I said, y'all messy for that. Y'all really messy for that. Because I was like, oh my gosh, they did do that. So yeah, but I think it's still, again, I just love Leah as Annabeth once again. I love how she is just she's on it every single time. And they really look to her. They're just like, what do I do? What do we do? And how she's so considerate too. You start seeing her really breaking down her walls. Grover was a little scared going into the underworld at first and, into the entrance from Krusty's shop. And I loved how she gave him the ball. She was like, okay, take this. It's okay. And, she just has their back. And I just love it. I just love it. It's so cute. I love what she's doing for our girl, Annabeth. Anyway, she's doing an amazing job. And, I think that whole sequence of them running from Cerberus and then Grover getting snatched up by Cerberus and then, Annabeth calming the Cerberus down to, let Grover get out of Cerberus. I thought that was just so well done. I just really loved that whole scene. They did such a great job all together. And then also the whole Hades moment. I think Hades, the actor who plays Hades, I will put his name down here. I don't remember at the top of my head. But he did a phenomenal job. I really loved what he was doing. I think that was just really, really great. I loved how he was just like, oh my gosh, can I get you some snacks? So, something to drink? I don't know. Welcome. How you doing? Hope everything's great. I just love that because that's kind of like a parallel to me of, he's kind of like that in Lightning Thief, but it's also, I was thinking of him more in The Sun and the Star because he was just really sweet to Nico. And I was just thinking about that kind of dynamic and, that version of Hades. Hades, I love, actually. I really love Hades. He's, grown on me because he is one of those gods that, actually cares about his kids and would do everything, especially when you get to see the backstory for Nico and Bianca and seeing how, even though he wasn't, again, the best father, he really tried to make sure they were taken care of and, okay. And I was thinking he did the same thing for Hazel, too, as we see in Heroes of Olympus. So I think I just like Hades. Yeah. But anyway, back to the point. So I love that whole scene. And then I loved how Percy figured it out that it was Kronos and then having that whole moment. I thought that was really great how they had him already figured that out because he, they have been building that up throughout the season. So I thought that was really great that he was able to point that out, figure that out. And yeah, I thought that was really, really good and well done. And also coming back to Poseidon, I really love Toby Stephens as Poseidon. He's doing a phenomenal job. I was so excited to see him. It's so funny because Poseidon is still a jerk. He's horrible. Let's also acknowledge that. But Toby Stephens is doing a great job as the Poseidon that is Percy's dad and that loves Sally, calls her, later on. He better say this line in the in the show. Where he says, she's a queen, your mother, she's a queen among women, your mother, And I was like, oh my gosh, his accent is everything though. Amber and I were just like, oh, this is so different. Because of course I'm always expecting an American accent in the books and whatnot. So it's kind of refreshing. But anyway, it was kind of funny that, it was just him coming in. It was just like, oh my gosh, it's the man of the hour. Oh my gosh, Poseidon. But yeah, I think he did a phenomenal job as Poseidon as well. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to be giving this episode 9.3 out of 10. Just simply because I think there were a few things that I wasn't the happiest with, mainly the Annabeth situation. At first I was not the happiest with Sally, and also I think the whole Krusty scene could have been worked out better, but I wouldn't take like a full like star away from it because of it, because I think there were also a lot of amazing moments in this episode, and overall just the stakes were so high, and I think the emotions were so well done, or brought out and portrayed in this episode. And so I can't, for those reasons, I can't necessarily bring it down to like 9 stars or pass anything past 9. But 9.3 I would say overall for this episode. But the last episode comes out next week. It's a very bittersweet situation because, again, I think I said this in the last episode, like, I'm really excited for the last episode, especially the moment we all find out who really is the Lightning Thief. But also just because, you know, it's going to be sad because, one, we still haven't got it renewed, but 2, it's also just like, I don't want the show to end. I just love it. It's been really, really, really good. I'm so excited. I'm thinking I'm pretty sure we're getting a season 2. If you were paying attention to social media, you probably acknowledged that why am I saying that? Oh my gosh. Celestial Trio was at Disney World this past weekend. They were meeting fans, hanging out, doing the thing. I think they did say that they were filming something. I was thinking it was something for Disney Channel. It could still be something for Disney Plus. I don't know. But I know Disney Channel does a lot of those little things with cast of stuff, especially if they're kids. Brings them to Disney World, you know, for them to do a lot of different things, go see people and whatnot. I think they definitely did it for them to go to the Percy Jackson exhibit in Hollywood Studios, and they did go there, took pictures with fans, and they just seem so sweet. I've been loving hearing the fan stories and meeting them. You know, I'm even more depressed because I want to go to Disney World, and I wish I could have gone there, but, you know, whatever, you know, that's great. At least I was able to see the pictures, and I knew where they were. As soon as I saw the picture, I'm like, oh, they're in Magic Kingdom all day. So I was so excited, but yeah, that was cool. Congrats to the people who got to meet them. I hope they were amazing. I actually do mean that. That sounded really shady and sarcastic, but no. But yeah, I think this pretty much concludes this video. So please, please, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't give it a thumbs down. That's just rude. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And I shall see you next week for the finale episode review and my overall final thoughts of the show. I'm going to also try to start filming some more videos that are not necessarily related to Percy Jackson for the channel. Because Black History Month is coming up. I have some ideas that I want to do for that. And also just do my January wrap up video. And yeah, so I'll still see y'all in the next one. All right, bye.